You're not gonna like these new Xboxes. What is up, y'all? I am Ray, and this is my channel, Xbox Ready, where we get on and we talk about Xbox stuff. That is right. The latest news, rumors, games, accessories. I do interviews sometimes. Pretty much anything I want to talk about as long as it's about Xbox in some way. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the latest twist in Xbox's most confusing saga ever and what it means for you as an Xbox fan. Now, on the off chance that this is maybe your first Xbox Ready video or you've been, I don't know, off the grid for the past couple of months, just a quick reminder that Xbox's current strategy right now is kind of confusing to fans and critics alike. At the beginning of this generation, we were all convinced that they were going to go hard on Xbox exclusives after all of these acquisitions that they completed. We thought that they were going to go hard on Game Pass growth. But fast forward to today, and we're living in a world where they're like, no, everywhere that you can play Xbox games, every screen that you can access an Xbox title, whether it's natively or through cloud gaming, we consider that an Xbox. That culminated in the This Is an Xbox campaign where your TV is an Xbox, your phone, your computer, blah, 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 blah. But in this world where everything is an Xbox as long as you can play an Xbox game on it, that now includes a couple of devices that we never would have thought or considered to be Xboxes even just a couple of years ago. I'm talking about the PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch consoles. But Ray, hold on, this is old news. Come on, man. Come on, man. Xbox published games have been available on PlayStation and Nintendo for years now. Games like Minecraft, games like Ghostwire Tokyo, Deathloop, last year when they brought over Sea of Thieves and all those other games. But as many people theorized back in February of 2024, it may have started with just those games, but it's not gonna stop there. According to Nate the Hate, who has been causing all sorts of stir online in the community, he claims that Halo, the Master Chief Collection, and Microsoft Flight Simulator at some point in 2025 are gonna make the jump to PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch consoles. Halo and PlayStation in the same sentence, I mean, that's gotta be every Xbox fan's worst fear, right? That is the one scenario that people have been like, no, they never do that. No, they never do that. Even though we got reports of like, no, Microsoft is considering everything, all of their franchises. Windows Central, not too long after that came out, and they were like, yes, we can corroborate those things that Nate the Hate is talking about. Master Chief Collection, Microsoft Flight Simulator making the jump to other platforms, but also Age of Mythology Retold, Hellblade 2, and even another classic Xbox title with Gears of War Ultimate Edition. It may not exactly be equivalent exchange, but Nate the Hate did say that this is the year that Final Fantasy VII Remake is gonna make its way over to Xbox consoles. That's not exactly surprising because Square Enix has been talking a big game of, oh, we want to pursue a more aggressive multi-platform strategy. We would love to put more games onto Xbox. Same with other Eastern-based publishers too, like Hoyoverse finally bringing Genshin Impact over. He also says that Microsoft will be porting and patching its current Switch lineup for Switch 2, introducing the likes of 4K support, and that he wouldn't be surprised if Sea of Thieves, maybe Hi-Fi Rush, also find their way over. While I keep billing this as like a nightmare scenario for Xbox fans, no, Halo, Gears on PlayStation, what are we gonna do? If I'm being completely honest, it's not surprising, especially this idea that Microsoft is super interested in the Nintendo Switch 2. At a certain point, we were hearing that Microsoft, Xbox, they want to make every screen an Xbox. Phones, computers, all that other stuff I was talking about earlier. And the Nintendo Switch 2, they're gonna sell a lot of screens. There's no doubt in my mind that it's gonna sell like hotcakes, just like the original Switch. There's no reason it wouldn't. And given everything else that Microsoft has been doing in terms of their multi-platform strategy, I imagine they are very, very interested in taking advantage of that as a company. I also have my own personal anecdote to throw into this whole saga. Back in 2022, I was invited to a lunch with Phil Spencer down in Culver City. Now, make no mistake, that's not a flex. It's not like Phil Spencer himself hit me up, sent me a text, say, hey man, let's go get tacos. No, this was something organized by the team at Xbox, the communication, the like outreach that they do with creators and stuff. It was me, my buddy Jimmy, people like Kevin Kenson, Jenna Zarek, Justine, Gerard the Completionist, Yong Yao was there, and a couple of other members of the Xbox team. I literally got to sit at the right hand of Phil Spencer and eat tacos and talk about surfing. It was crazy, especially because Xbox Ready at the time wasn't even a year old. They stipulated, hey, this is not a formal interview opportunity. This is just a chance for you to sit and talk, and you know what? I don't really know like what the purpose of it was. I know that they did the equivalent of that over in New York with all the creators that live over there. And I remember at the time, this was the day after Phil Spencer did an interview on Wall Street Journal Live. This was before the Activision Blizzard acquisition. They hadn't closed the deal yet. They had announced it, but it wasn't closed. And he was talking, yeah, we would treat, if we completed this acquisition, we would treat Call of Duty like we do Minecraft. And just like Minecraft, I would love to see Call of Duty on the Nintendo Switch. And at that lunch, I remember asking him about it. I was like, is this Call of Duty on the Switch thing? Is it, you know, you'll be able to stream it to the Switch and therefore it's coming to Switch consoles? And he was like, no. It'll definitely be native. I have full confidence that we can achieve it natively because the teams that work on Call of Duty, they're so good at optimization. He also alleged separately at that lunch, hey, I kind of know what's going on with, he didn't call it the Switch 2. He was like, what Nintendo is working on right now because Minecraft is so popular on Switch consoles. He didn't go into detail. That was above my classification, my clearance. But now that we're seeing all this stuff of, oh yeah, Microsoft Flight Sim, Halo Master Chief Collection, it has me wondering, how long have they been thinking about bringing their games over to Nintendo consoles? Not just Call of Duty, not just Activision Blizzard titles, but their older legacy titles like the Master Chief Collection. There's a possibility that it's been on their minds for a lot longer than we initially thought. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I'm not the biggest fan of this whole multi-platform thing. I see why they're doing it. I see why they have to do it. I've made a ton of videos talking about, oh, it's not a good idea. They should keep with exclusives, whatever. But, you know, I'm always honest with you guys. Whenever I turn on this camera, whenever I make a video, right now I am finding it very, very hard to care, to make a big stink about it, to be mad, to be like, this is so dumb. This is the downfall of Xbox, downfall of the video game industry. I got hit with a reality slap these past few days. LA as a whole, as a community, has been dealing with these crazy fires, and over the past couple days, I've been driving back and forth to drop off donations that my wife has been gathering to the YMCA. I see the people who are affected by these, and in the light of all that, I find it hard to be like, ugh, Gears of War Ultimate Edition on PlayStation 5, ugh. Now, of course, everything is relative, right? I'm not saying that this isn't important, and far be it from me to go up to anyone who is hyperfixated on a certain bit of media, like a certain franchise, anything like that, and be like, huh, how can you be worried about that? There are people dying and losing their homes in XYZ location. But to be completely honest, that's where I'm at right now. I don't really care if Gears of War Ultimate Edition pops up on the PlayStation 5. I played that so many years ago. I played it over and over again on my Xbox consoles. Same thing with Microsoft Flight Sim. I don't know, like, I don't even really play that game. I've played it like once or twice and then I deleted it because it was hogging up a bunch of storage on my Xbox. I don't see why it has to affect my enjoyment of that game or the franchise just because another platform version of it exists. That's not to say that we as fans aren't owed answers. You should know, as a customer, as a consumer, are Xbox games going to be on PlayStation? Are they going to be on Switch? Because then you can decide with your wallet, hey, will I be okay if I buy a PlayStation 6 so I can play all the Sony games plus the Xbox published games? That is totally valid, and that's something that Microsoft needs to clear up. I don't know if that's me being jaded or disillusioned or coping, as some people are probably gonna say, but that's just where I'm at right now. Things are very, very confusing right now, though, and it's all Xbox's fault. You go back to things that Phil Spencer and other Xbox leadership says, it doesn't add up to what they're currently doing right now. Their words don't match their actions. Just kind of looking at what's happening though, this seems like a natural progression of what we saw from them last year when they ported over those 4 games. But also not. Halo Master Chief Collection, Microsoft Flight Sim, those are older games, much like we saw with Sea of Thieves. There had also been rumors leading up to that whole press conference that they did, or like little announcement that they had on the Xbox official podcast, that Hellblade 2 was on the chopping block, so to speak. That was a game game that they really wanted to port over to other consoles. And since then, we've heard things, oh, we regret making it exclusive to Xbox. We should have done it multi-platform. Maybe it would have sold better. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Maybe, sure, you would have sold a couple of extra copies, but I don't think people were really gonna go for that game, seeing how critics responded to it. It's weird right now. It is weird right now, because they're still porting over older games. They're not like, yeah, Gears of War E-Day, it's a day one release for PlayStation 5, but some of their other Xbox published games like Doom the Dark Ages, that's gonna launch simultaneously across platforms, and Indiana Jones as well. The PlayStation 5 version of that is gonna come out pretty soon. I was under the impression that for new Xbox games, there would be at least a year in terms of the timed exclusivity, but after seeing what they're doing with Indiana Jones, some of these other games, I'm not so sure. And we know that their rivals on PlayStation, they do that all the time. We are living in this time when finally Xbox has a ton of content to offer us, which at the beginning of this generation is what we wanted, what we were expecting, but simultaneously there's still so much uncertainty surrounding the brand. It could be really cool. All of these things that they're working on could be very exciting. We know that they're still working on cloud gaming, trying to bring 4K resolution to stream, higher bitrate, better performance. We know that they're working on bringing the best of Xbox and Windows, combining them together into this new OS sort of thing, but not really. Xbox Play Anywhere, that continues to be super, super clutch, and I know they're trying to expand that. And even though console sales are declining, the total number of Xbox users is remaining steady according to Xbox leadership. Now that the acquisition train has kind of dried up, it's slowed down, I'm a little bit worried if Microsoft can continue to expand its support for Xbox Game Pass, and even just developers putting their game on Xbox. On one end, we're seeing these studios, these publishers who historically have always skipped over Xbox, bring their games over for the first time this generation. I remember being at the showcase where they were like, Persona, Atlas, it's finally coming to Xbox consoles, Persona 5, it's gonna be on Game Pass, and I was like, whoa, that is crazy. On the other end, you see these studios, these publishers be like, I don't know, we're gonna skip over Xbox because we have a deal with PlayStation. We don't want to develop the game for the Series S. We're having trouble optimizing for it. Even further whispers and rumors about third-party publishers skipping Xbox because the install base is shrinking. The one main advantage that Xbox had against that argument was, well, if you're not going to work with us, we're going to buy you and make you make games for Xbox. Sometimes that's worked out, sometimes not. There are certain advantages to being backed by Microsoft, absolutely. See the teams at Stalker 2, Double Fine. I literally talked to Richard Horvitz, who is the voice of Rasputin Aquato, and he was talking about, yeah, they stopped bringing me in because they ran out of money until Microsoft bought Double Fine. Suddenly they were like, oh yeah, we can finish this game. But that's not the case for everyone else. As we've seen with all of these layoffs, these studio closures, there's been a lot of ups, but also a lot of downs as well. And in this Windows Central article, they pose a very interesting question. They're trying to reach all of these new audiences. People who are into handhelds, people who are into PC gaming, people who are into cloud gaming, PlayStation fans, Nintendo fans. But the one question is, are current Xbox users happy? I think that's a very, very, very interesting question to pose. Are all of these things, is it worth it if it alienates their core fan base? And at this point, I don't really know the answer. I'm currently happy being an Xbox player. I know a lot of you are. There are some people who come up to me, they're like, I don't really care about all this. I still love Xbox. Great, that's awesome. And again, we know that they're still working on hardware for anyone who's worried about that. But if the Xbox handheld comes out, if the Series X2 or whatever successor that they're planning, the one that's gonna have a big tech lead, if those come out and they don't really sell, if they flop, I think it's a very real possibility that those are gonna be the last Xbox consoles that we ever see. And an Xbox, like we've been talking about this whole video, it's not gonna be a console, it's gonna be a screen, it's gonna be PlayStation, it's gonna be Nintendo. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing, considering donating to any of the organizations I have linked down below to help out with the wildfires that are currently going on in LA. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.